Hi, my name's Frank. Welcome back to our Let's Get To It Home Tips and Tricks channel. Today we're going to be replacing a damaged exterior door, and we're going to be putting it back into an existing door casing. And so we're just going to replace the door only. So to start with, I'm going to show you some of the tools we're going to be using, and then we'll get started on our project. Okay, here's some of the tools we're going to use. These are just clamps, wood clamps. When we stand our doors up, we're going to stand them up side by side, and these are good to clamp the doors together to keep them moving while we mark our hinges for a new door. Then right here we have some drill bits. We're going to use these to drill the new holes in the door casing for the new latch holes, because these are not going to line up with the old ones. They hardly ever do. This is a 1-inch drill bit. Then we've got a marker to mark our hinges, so make sure you get the right orientation. This is a little Milwaukee brand that I picked up, I think, at Home Depot or Lowe's, probably Lowe's. And the thing about them is they got an extra hard marker on the end of them, so it's good to mark on wood and rough surfaces. Need a pencil. I'll need a chisel. This is a 1-inch wide chisel, is the best one to use. I'll need a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver to knock hinges out with, hinge pins out with. They're stubborn sometimes, you can't get them started, so if you have trouble, just take this nail and drive it up into the bottom of the hinge pin and knock it out to where you can get the screwdriver under there. Then we're also going to need a Phillips head screwdriver to take the door locks and stuff off with. We'll need our combination square to help mark the hinges for the new orientation. Of course, you always need a tape measure handy. This is a little device that we're going to help mark the new holes in the door casing for the new latches. This will go inside the new door where the locks are, and you just push it out and make the marks, and you'll see how we use that later. Also need a hammer. Need a good drill. Cordless drill is always the best. You don't have to put it with cords. Need a good Phillips head screwdriver on it. Need some good selection of drill bits. You'll need a hacksaw. Need a putty knife and some kind of sharp knife edge. Also going to need some painter's tape. And this right here is going to sound strange, but this is auto body filler, where they fill in small dents and scratches and stuff in cars to repair them. But this dries hard. It'd be harder than wood, so we're going to have to fill the holes that don't match up. We're going to have to fill those up in the door casing. This is the best stuff, and I'm going to show you the best way to use it when we get started. Also need some paper towels. It's September the 13th in Alabama. Humidity is really high. It's still in the 90s, and so you're going to need something to wipe the sweat off with. All right, gather up your tools, and we'll meet you at the door, and we'll get started on our project. So let's get started. Okay, here's the door we're going to replace today. It's kind of worn, coming apart at the bottom, flaked apart up here, so it's just only 34 years old, but it's time to replace it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to close the door, leave the handles on. We're going to knock these hinge pins out, and this will give us a handle to lift the door off with. So that's what we're going to use. It's just our hammer and our screwdriver. Just kind of get in the edge of it there. These are going to be stubborn. Save your pins. Go. And one more. As you can see, these are pretty rusty, so they've been there, like I say, 34 years. So next we're just going to unlatch the door like you normally would. Get your hand up under this bottom hinge over here and just lift up. And there it's off. Now I'm going to take these locks off. I'm going to pause when I do that, and just take the screws out, take them off, take the outside off, and we're going to use these old ones back. Okay, we got our locks off, and I've turned the door around. The next thing we need to do is take these hinges off. So you want to make sure you get these hinges back in the right orientation, you know, high, straight up, turn around right. So what I'm going to do is just take a pencil here and make me a little arrow pointing up on each one of them, just to make sure we get them back like we're supposed to, no confusion. So I'm going to pause again while I get these hinges off, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now, one other thing you may want to do is you may want to mark them top, middle, and bottom, just so, you know, because of the wear, because we're using the same hinges, make sure that they match up with the old hinge. Now here's an important tip you really want to pay attention to. When you're replacing older doors, like everything else nowadays, they want to make it a little cheaper and a little smaller. So a lot of your doors, originally 32-inch doors were actually really 32 inches. Then back in the 70s they decided to cut a 1/4 inch off, so they made them 31 1/4. Now they trimmed another 1/16 of an inch off, and I'm going to turn you around here and show you on our new door. So you get here, and you notice this one is about a 1/16 of an inch shorter than the other one was, or narrower. So we don't want to recess our hinges like, so get you back over here, like these hinges are recessed here. Get you on there, yeah. So we don't want to recess our hinges on these. We're going to mount our hinges on the new door flush mounted. In other words, we're just going to take our hinge, mark our location, and we're just going to put it on just like that right there. So so that's the big thing you want to watch for when you're replacing older doors. Okay, as you can see, what I've done here is I've set our doors up on the ends, parallel to each other, and even them up at the top. Now the bottom, I'll get you over here where you can see the bottom. The bottom is going to be a little different, and the reason for that is that these doors are designed to have a threshold, because this is just a garage door going out to the sidewalk. It doesn't have a threshold, and I don't really want one because it's something to trip over. So what we're doing, we've got them parallel to each other. I've got them in these stands. If you don't have a stand like this, you can just kind of you know, prop them up against something. Then I'm going to do also, you can do, if you've got some clamps like these are very handy things to have around. I'm just going to clamp them together there just so they don't move. So it's got them lined up. Now what we're going to do next, I'll get you there where you can see good, is we're going to mark our hinge location. And what we're using for that is our combination square. And what we're going to do, we're going to take this square, I'll lay it down here and line up right on the edge where that other hinge is cut out, and we're going to make us a mark there. And we'll come over here same way on this side and make another mark. And then we're going to go down and do all three of them, and I'll get back to you on the next step. All right, we're ready to start putting our hinges on now. I've cleaned these up a little bit so they wouldn't look so bad, but I didn't worry about doing new ones because I'm going to paint these when I paint the door. So what we want to do now is we want to get our hinge in the right place. Now these hinges are not going to be recessed, so we don't have to stop them. What we want to do is just line them up with this lip right here, and then get them in between our marks like that. And then we want them to come back and we want them get it just right. And we want to take our pencil and we're going to mark our holes, because we want to pre-drill them so we don't split our wood. Now when you get ready to pre-drill your hose, let's see if I can get this where you can see it. You want to take your drill bit, let's see if I can get it focused, and you want to get a drill bit that's just a little smaller than your screw. You should be able to put it up there like that and see your threads, these outside threads here behind your drill bit. You don't want to get too big because you strip them out, you'd be better off being a little bit too small. So we're going to pre-drill these holes now. And we use our handy dandy Milwaukee drill, cordless drill. There's nothing any handier than these cordless drills. So we're going to drill these out. You put your drill down there, you get it centered, and just kind of push it and help you stay centered. Just get there, just push real hard, and there you go. So now we're going to change our drill back out to our Phillips head screwdriver bit. And we're going to, now I cleaned these up, so I took my marks. I went ahead and marked them on the back. These the middle, so we want to take our top one and we want to go, make sure our arrow's to the top, and we're going to get it down there like that. Get our screw in here. One more. Now I'm going to put the rest of these screws in. I'm going to work my way down, do the same exact thing on all of them, and then we'll be back for the next step. Okay, we've got our hinges on now. We're ready to hang our door back. We've got our hinge pins, and I cleaned them up a little bit. Put a little light coat of oil, just put the oil on there, oil them, and then wipe the oil off because you don't want it running and getting down on your paint. So what I'll do is just, I've got the door knobs on just for the handle. lift up under you here just like you did when we took it off. We'll start with the top hinge. We're just going to line them up. There we go. Hinge pin started. Wiggle it around a little. There we go. Take your hammer and just tap it. Don't tap it all the way because maybe want to take it back out to adjust something, and then just take this other one and just kind of help them in a little bit. Sometimes you'll have to tap a little bit at the bottom or the top to get them to line on up. Then we're just going to do the same things, put our hinge pins in, leave them up just a tad. And there we go. So now you're going to notice, get up here, give you a little better view here. Where our door locks are here. These are going to be off from our new door. They're hardly ever the same. So here's our latch here, our striker plate, and here's our latch way down here. So we're going to have to put new holes here, new hole for the deadbolt lock, and then we're going to fill those others in. So I'm going to take the locks back off, show you how to properly align those holes up to drill them, and then we'll get right back. Now I'll show you this little handy gadget here. You see the little sharp point on the end. This is out of a little professional tool, locksmith tool installation kit. But you can make one very easy. It's just a 1-inch dowel. You can take a wooden dowel, cut you a little piece off about 2 inches. Find the center of your dowel and take a little finishing nail, drive in that center and cut the end of the finishing nail off, and it'll work just as well. Now you could just take a little short pencil, put it in here and go round and around with it and find the same thing. So we're going to use this, we're going to slide it in the hole there, and then we're going to shut our door to where it would be just a snug fit there, and then we're going to push this in real hard and make our little mark on our door. And we're going to turn around and do the same thing here. Put it in and then just push real hard and make our mark there. All right. Now I'll show you what we got. Right here, see our little mark here, and then we've got another little mark down here. So, so now we know where we want to drill at. Okay, we've got our 1-inch bit here, and we're going to drill this hole and put this on the deadbolt lock. So we want to go a little bit deeper than we would for the latch down here. So never fails. There's a nail. Okay, we're going to drill here with this 1-inch bit. Luck would have it as I started to do it before I hit a nail, so I had to get the nail out. So let's try it now and see. It's a pretty big bit for this cordless drill. So. All right, now let's move down here and do this other one. Probably should have stopped and got a bigger drill, but a little bit more. All right, there we go. Now, the next thing we need to do is mark out our striker plate. Now, this is a striker plate. This is just like this one here. It's just a cleaner model. It's going to go down here, and then we've got the other one for the deadbolt lock. It's going to go right here. So what we're going to do is get them centered up. Wear a hole like this, and then we're going to take our pencil and outline them like this. And you go ahead and mark the holes so we can pre-drill those. We take this one up here, same way, and get it pretty centered on our hole. And it's going to come right at the top of that one, so I'll need to take that one out. But then, let's see. All right, we'll mark our screw holes, mark our sides here. And then we're going to take our chisel and we're going to make our marks here, go up here, make our marks, and then we're going to start chiseling that out. And I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll come back and show you what we got. All right, I've chiseled the other one out, got it installed. Just wanted to show you a little bit about chiseling. You can see where I've marked my outline with my chisel. Just took and hammered it in like that. And then I'm going to take and chisel this out, and hopefully you can see it on the video. But I'm just going to start at the top. You see where your chisel's beveled here. One side you want to put the flats, the beveled side to your door so it don't dig in too much. Kind of get it centered there and just kind of tap it and turn it in and out as you go. And you kind of get the feel of it. Kind of watch what you're doing. You don't want to get too deep, but you want to be sure and get deep enough so your striker plate won't stick out too much there. That, and we're going to go to the bottom, and we're going to do the same thing. Let's turn it over and go back down to our line. Break that out. Same up here. Kind of break it out like that. Just keep going till you got it good and even all the way down. And then we can take our striker plate. Here, and then we can start seeing how it fits in there, and that's pretty good right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera back and go ahead and put the screws in, and then I'll be back. Okay, we've got our locks back on here. Our deadbolt, and our bottom latch. So now we're going to try, see how things work. And there we go. It's all done. Now, of course, I'll take these back off and clean them up when I get ready to paint. So then we will down here at the bottom where our gap is. I'll get a little drag strip and put on there, and I'll show you that when we get ready to do it. And it's real simple. And then when we come back, we'll show you about filling in these extra holes here, the easy way to do it, and make it look right, look nice. So when we come back, we'll work on that. Okay, now we're going to see if we can do something about this, these extra hose we had left over. This is called Bondo. It's really a brand name, but it's auto body filler. It's still, they sell it in the paint department at the stores. It's great for filling holes because it dries hard, and it'll be just as hard as this wood is, or harder. It also doesn't absorb moisture, so it's good to fix, rotten window sills and stuff with. So we're going to mix this up. Underneath it has some instructions in it. Sorry, it has this little tube of hardener in it. So we mix this little putty together. Let's get this open, and this stuff dries pretty fast. So once you get it mixed, then you want to get it in there pretty quick. So we're going to take our putty knife. And a piece of cardboard here, and we're going to mix some on this cardboard. See if I can do this where you can see it. Just going to mix a good bit, so we have plenty to fill our hole. That should be more than enough. And then I'm going to set that aside, put the lid back on it. We're going to take our little tube of hardener, and then we're only going to put, see if I can do it where you see it, about a 3-inch roll there of it. So it got pretty hot, and we're just going to mix all this up together, and it'll have a good red tint to it when we get it mixed up. And mix it really good and even. I'm going to start, got one little hole right here I'm going to go ahead and fill in with that, and we'll leave it kind of built up a little bit, and I'll show you what we're going to do about that. Save you a lot of sanding. I'm just going to go ahead and start packing some in our holes here. Feel pretty runny. Normally not this runny, but it's been out sitting out in my shop. We got hot, so it's going to take us a little bit to get it to start thickening up. Yeah, it's starting to thicken a little bit. There we go. Now you see when it starts to thicken, it does it really fast. And what we're going to do, we're going to let it get a little hard, which is doing it really fast. What we're going to do is let it firm up just a little bit more, and then we're going to take our knife here, and we're going to just go down like this and just trim it off. Get rid of a lot of the excess. And you want to do this while it's still pretty pliable, because it gets really hard really quick, and you're going to have to do a lot more sanding. So there, we'll just let it finish setting, and we'll hit it with some light sandpaper, and we'll be ready to go. I'm going to get it all off of this striker plate that I can here. All right, we'll let that dry, and then we'll hit it with a piece of sandpaper. Now what we're going to do, we're going to put a little finishing strip at the bottom, because we got this big gap at the bottom. This is just a little half metal, half rubber strip here. You see where it bends there, and got screw holes in here. Now they all come, this is called a clean sweep door sweep, and they all come like in 36-inch lengths. You know, this one's like, see if I can get it there for you. It's like 2 3/8 by 3 inches, and but they all come in 36-inch width, so we have to cut it off. So when you do, you cut off like this end hole right here. You cut it off on this end, so we're going to put a little extra hole there once we get it mounted up there, and then we'll put the screws in it and get it mounted up. Okay, I hope I've got you there where you can see what we're doing here. We're going to just set this to where it just touches the floor, and like that. We're going to take a few pieces of this painter's tape and put up there to help us hold it in place. There, that should be enough. Now we've got these little screws here, so remember what I told you about using your drill size, you know, just a little, so you can, small enough to where you can still see the threaded part of your screw out there. And we're going to drill some holes here. Now where we need another hole down here, I'm going to go ahead and drill the small hole, and then I'll drill a little bit bigger hole so the whole screw can go through. All right, then we're going to back up with a drill. We're going to get a bigger drill to drill so our whole screw will go through the outside, and just barely go through it. There we go. All right, then we're just going to start putting these screws in. All right, so I'm going to stop while I'm doing this and see it. I mean, you don't need to see me put all the screws in, so I'm going to get all the screws in, then we'll come right back. Okay, we've got our strip on there, and it'll drag the floor easy there, and back both ways, pretty well sealed up. Okay, you can see our putty's pretty much dry. All we gotta do is let it dry a little bit longer and get it good and hard. It's still a little gummy, and then we'll knock it off with sandpaper and paint it in the door, and this will be a done project. Hope it's worked for you, and watch it over a few times before you start so you can get everything in. And I appreciate you coming in. If you hadn't already, please subscribe to our channel. We got a lot more videos coming. We're going to do one on replacing the whole door unit, casing and everything, so watch for that, and a few other fun and exciting videos. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time.